introduce April Hines, who will be giving the staff report this morning.
Madam Chair, members of the board, today's presentation provides background on actions taken since your board approved outsourcing animal services in the unincorporated area in March 2017 and termination of contracts with 6 cities. Today's action requests authority to initiate a managed competition process to provide animal services in the unincorporated area and authorize the Department of Animal Services to submit a proposal to provide services in response to the request for proposal. The Department of Animal Services currently provides animal welfare, public protection, code enforcement, adoption, sheltering, and related services to the unincorporated area, as well as the cities of Carlsbad, Del Mar, Encinitas, San Diego, Santee, and Solana Beach on a contractual basis until June 30th, 2018. On March 14, 2017, your board approved termination of the 6 city contracts and authorized procurement for outsourcing of animal services in the unincorporated areas. Following that, on March 15, 2017, a request for interest was issued and 2 entities responded based on this request. A request for statement of qualifications was issued on April the 21st, and only 1 qualified entity responded, the San Diego Humane Society and SPCA. The six contract cities were notified that their contracts would not be renewed on May 26, 2017, and 3 community stakeholders meetings were held in July and August to gather input on expectations for animal services in the unincorporated areas. Later in the summer, after extensive negotiations with SEIU Local 221, the county and SEIU agreed to use the County of San Diego's Managed Competition Guide procedures to determine if the work performed by DAS employees can be conducted more economically and efficiently than if such services are contracted out to a non-county service provider. Today's action requests authority to issue a request for proposals to initiate the managed competition process. Based on the Managed Competition Guide procedures outlined on this slide, county staff has already completed all of the steps shown in green, since the same steps are required for outsourcing that was previously authorized by your board. The primary difference between the previously authorized outsourcing process and the managed competition is that managed competition allows the Department of Animal Services to submit a proposal to perform the work. Should your board approve today's request, next steps would include distribution of a draft RFP for comments by external stakeholders and service providers for a 30-day comment period. After comments are evaluated for appropriate changes, a final RFP will be issued for the Department of Animal Services and San Diego Humane Society to respond. Proposals will be evaluated, and a service provider will be selected based on an economy and efficiency determination. If the Department of Animal Services proposal is most economical and efficient, then all external offers will be rejected, the proposal process will be canceled, and the Department of Animal Services will provide services in accordance with the performance levels and specifications set forth in its technical and cost proposal. If the external provider's proposal is determined to be most economical and efficient, then normal contract negotiation procedures will be followed to award a contract. Managed competition will not delay the termination of the agreements with the 6 cities. Staff is currently making plans to move out of the central shelter on Gain Street and return the building to the City of San Diego. Staff is also working with all 6 cities and their prospective service provider to transition animals and records by June 30th. We are pursuing interim agreements with the San Diego Humane Society to potentially use some county facilities to provide services to the 6 cities. And finally, the Department of Animal Services remains committed to providing the highest quality of services to animals and the public throughout this process. Today's actions request authority from your board to initiate the managed competition, to authorize the Department of Animal Services to submit a proposal. If the CAO determines the Department of Animal Services proposal to be more economical and efficient than the external proposal, then it directs staff to return to the board for any necessary actions to implement the proposal. If the CAO determines that the external provider's proposal to be more economical and efficient, then it authorizes the Director of Purchasing and Contracting to award a contract and to implement the outsourcing of the Department of Animal Services. This concludes staff presentation, subject to your questions.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move forward with members of the public wishing to address the board.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I'd like to invite forward our speaker in favor, David Garcias. He'll be followed by our opposition speakers, Adele Schmidt, Robert Reinhardt, and Brianne McKinley. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Please begin by stating your name for the audio record.
Good morning. My name is David Garcias. I'm the president of SEIU Local 221, representing the employees of the County of San Diego. SEIU 221 is pleased that the county is bringing this item to the board for its consideration. We believe this is a step in the right direction. When the county and SEIU agree to give public employees the opportunity to bid against costly efforts to outsource through the managed competition process. We hope this process can move forward in a way that minimizes the uncertainty for your county employees. We're pleased that a delegation of our SEIU members experienced in animal services are able to serve on the managed competition team under the leadership of Mr. Dan D'Souza. The 3 meetings we've had so far have been very productive, and I'm confident that the process will show the county and the public will be best served by keeping animal services with the county. The Department of Animal Services provides a level of expertise, experience, and professionalism that cannot be matched by the Humane Society or any other outside agency. Your employees lead the nation in training of field officers, and they accept and rehabilitate animals that other organizations, including the Humane Society, deem as untreatable. Outsourcing the department will result in immediate threat to our public safety and endanger the lives of animals and humans alike. And we look forward to proving that through this process. Cheaper is never better, nor is it faster. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, thank you. My name is Adele Schmidt, and I'm a full-time English professor at Grossmont College. I'm a volunteer mentor at the county's South Shelter in Bonita, and I'm the president of Dogs for Days, a very well-respected 501c3 foster-based dog rescue that takes in approximately 100 dogs per year from your county shelters. On behalf of my rescue and the other 17 animal rescues in the San Diego Rescue Coalition, I'm here to express outrage that our input as it pertains to potential DAS outsourcing has been ignored. On August 16th, the San Diego Rescue Coalition sent a letter of recommendations to the Board of Supervisors, and we offered to provide our combined hundreds of years of experience and expertise partnering with various Southern California animal control agencies. As nonprofit organizations that exit approximately 30% of unclaimed animals from county shelters, and these are the animals with the most profound medical and behavioral issues, it is dangerous to our animals, our most vulnerable citizens, to ignore our recommendations regarding necessary communication, transparency, and partnership resources. Animal services is only as good as its network of relationships. Rescue relationships with county shelters are currently collaborative, and rescues are provided access to any and all information on the animals most in need. The Humane Society has a historically and current poor relationship with rescues, which they admit to. And every rescue I have spoken to has expressed that if the Department of Animal Services shuts down, they will be instead exiting dogs from Los Angeles, Riverside, and Mexico. As this board has, the Humane Society has ignored our recommendations submitted this summer. Additionally, I want to clarify that a shelter's assertion of being no-kill is only as good as the integrity of the organization. According to the Asilomar criteria, which is the gold standard for all no-kill shelters, any animal with any 3 medical conditions is considered unhealthy and untreatable, and that animal can be euthanized without it impacting a shelter's save or kill rate. My own dog, who is a 12-year-old beloved friend, would qualify for euthanasia because she has dry eye, arthritis, and glaucoma. This is why ensuring the kind of essential oversight that the Department of Animal Services is held to regarding public access to medical records and communications must be included in any animal services contract, even when awarded to a private entity. Finally, I want to make you aware that My Rescue's phone rings multiple times per day with requests to take in owner surrenders because currently the wait list for an interview to possibly relinquish a dog to the Humane Society is 6 to 8 weeks. These members of the public tell me that they plan to release their dogs on the street. I am frankly terrified of what will happen when most rescues are off the county grid after outsourcing.
Thank you for your comments this morning. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Bob Reinert. I'm a decades-long resident of unincorporated El Cajon. I'm here to voice my opposition in which the San Diego County Board of Supervisors has chosen to outsource animal welfare services. For example, the county gave the media and the public only a day's notice of the July 19th event in Ramona at the public library. Very convenient for all of us to get up there. The consultant firm, Representative John Guevara, stated the lack of notice for the $3,300 meeting was unintentional and a glitch. However, this board heard a presentation on outsourcing animal services back on March 14, 2017, making it impossible to understand why longer notice could not have been provided to the public on this issue. The actual meeting was a charade wherein absolutely no questions were answered. Attendees were told to quiet down in order to silently check boxes on the community input form, which is just ridiculous. I am appalled that my only opportunity to have my voice heard has been to check boxes on a perplexing form asking only whether service levels should be reduced, retained, or increased. For example, I was asked if I would like to increase the service level of owner-requested euthanasia. I was asked if I would like to reduce disease prevention. The questions are ridiculous. Additionally, a majority of questions address aspects of animal services that I nor any typical member of the public would have information on, such as whether service levels for kennel inspections, mandatory reporting. These are questions that demand input from the people and organizations that work directly with the Department of Animal Services, local kennels, local law enforcement, border patrol, and rescues. Further, as a retired Teamster and union supporter, I am astounded that the county has failed to adhere to its own process, which means full disclosure and transparency of all relevant information. Your constituents have been provided with zero information. DAS contracts end this summer, but residents have no idea what the new proposals contain. Residents do not know what will happen to current employees, nor do they know what will happen to our animals. Somehow this entire transition is meant to happen by this summer, which is beyond daunting. It is irresponsible. The lack of community and professional involvement in this massively important area of public service is appalling, and I ask that you do not sign on this contract today and transition plan without responsible levels of input and time for implementation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and also for the volunteerism of our community members. My best friend Frank came within 8 hours of being euthanized, so I can understand where you're coming from here. We have one final speaker.
Good morning. My name is Brianne McKinley, and I am a doggy daycare employee, dog owner, rescue volunteer, and a foster. As your constituent residing in Spring Valley, I am here today to encourage you to advocate for our most vulnerable citizens by insisting upon certain key negotiating criteria when awarding an animal service contract. Most importantly, we must have transparency. Currently, there is a stark difference between the Department of Animal Services and the San Diego Humane Society offer in terms of access to information. Currently, a member of the public may access the emails of public employees at Department of Animal Services. A member of the public may request the medical and behavioral records of any impounded animal at DAS. A dog can easily be tracked with one identifying number, which does not change whether the dog is south, north, or central. A member of the public may request the outcome of any animal, as well as a member of the public may tour DAS facilities upon request. Access and information are absolutely fundamental. Without these, there can be no oversight. Without public record, there can be no checks and balances against irresponsible behavior. Currently, the San Diego Humane Society is not obligated or willing to release emails or records to the public. The San Diego Humane Society chooses to assign a new number to transfer dogs so that they cannot be tracked. The San Diego Humane Society does not allow the public to tour all facilities. As well, once the Humane Society has slated a dog for euthanasia by assigning what they call a spoil date, no member of the public is even allowed to view or adopt that dog. Contrary to this, and thanks to the Hayden law regulating public shelters, all dogs at DAS must be made available and marketed to no fewer than 3 rescue groups if the dog is in danger of being put to sleep. As a private nonprofit, the Humane Society is not currently held to that standard. I ask that you insist that the San Diego Humane Society be contractually held to the same standards regarding public records and Hayden Law rescue requests as the DAS is. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Question for staff. We talk a lot in the staff report using terms as economical and efficient, and when I hear these things, it's a unspoken expectation of mine that the quality of care is not compromised in any of this as we proceed forward. So I just want assurance from staff that it is also your expectation that these proposals include the quality of care that we expect for the animals.
Yes, Chairwoman. The RFP, which will be released for everyone, including the members of the public and rescues, to comment upon, will include standards, and each proposal will be required to conform to those standards.
Excellent, thank you. There's an important line in the staff report that if the Department of Animal Services cost proposal is the most economical and efficient, then all external offers will be rejected, the proposal process will be canceled, and the Department of Animal Services will provide services. That is the ultimate off-ramp should this proposal not come back favorable as both efficient, economical, with top-notch quality of care.
Yes, Chairwoman, that is the process.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Vice Chairwoman Jacob.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to ask the clerk to give the last 2 speakers the board item number 11. This is not about outsourcing. This is about managed competition. And this board has a long history with managed competition. In fact, it has saved the county millions of dollars over the years. And I want to also thank David Garcias from SEIU for coming down and supporting it and recognizing that this is a good way to go, what's on our agenda today. I also want to thank the CAO for bringing forward the decision the board made some time ago to only focus animal services on the unincorporated area. That is the county's core responsibility for animal services. And so the cities have their own responsibility. So we're peeling back the services just to the unincorporated area. Now to what's on our agenda and the managed competition. This is healthy. What I've seen over the years, that where we've had a managed competition, it allows, in this case, our employees, county employees, within the Animal Services Department to compete with the private sector, nonprofit in this case. And it gives them the opportunity to get together, huddle down, and see how can we become more efficient? How can we become better in what we do, provide better services than what we are doing right now in a more cost-efficient model? That's what managed competition is about. And I've seen in so many cases where our employees won the competition because they did just that. Competition is good, it's healthy, and it's work for this county. So I would put a motion on the floor to approve the CAO recommendation, and we'll see what the results.
The second, Supervisor Cox.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we've embarked on this effort, I've had some reservations, although I think, as Supervisor Jacob has made reference, I think we're going to be focusing on the unincorporated area. I have no problem with that. I think the other cities, 6 contract cities, hopefully are working diligently to figure out who's going to be providing those services in their respective cities. But I do applaud the effort, and I certainly wish our county employees well as they respond to this RFP. I think managed competition is the appropriate way to deal with this issue. I hope when this comes back, we will have some information provided by staff in regards to the fact that one way or another, we will have a facility in the unincorporated area in Bonita, which is servicing really the majority of the unincorporated area. I realize there's a facility up at Palomar on the airport property, but I believe that's probably servicing more of the some of the contract cities we have to the north. Clearly, the central facility is one that will most likely be worked out with the city of San Diego to continue to provide the services within the city of San Diego. The Bonita facility is the oldest, it's the most dilapidated, it's the most in need of repair and replacement. A year ago, actually, last year's budget, we approved $15 million towards rebuilding and replacing that facility in the first of a 3-phase project. I want to make sure that whatever we do with that facility, that we retain it. Because if we do go with a contract, who knows how long that'll last. If we don't, obviously we have the money available now to move forward with the improvements to it. So I want to make sure that staff comes back and addresses that issue when this issue comes back to the Board of Supervisors. And I really appreciated the comments from the representatives from the rescue organizations. I think they're an integral partner of what we do in providing quality animal care services, trying to reunite families with pets, but more specifically, when animals are given up for adoption. I realize there's times when we can't handle the sheer volume, and I think the rescue organizations are an integral part of what has made our animal care services program in the county of San Diego so successful. So I hope we make sure we address how that issue is going to be dealt with in whatever is ultimately brought back to this board. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. We have a motion and a second. Let's vote.
Chairwoman Gaspar, that motion passes unanimously with all board members being present and voting aye. That is your final item for discussion this morning. It would be appropriate this time to move to adjournment in memory.
Thank you. Supervisor Ron Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I